There are a zillion things that could go wrong in any moment in one of these events.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, something goes wrong at every event. It's just like right? Like without fail. Yeah. When you fail in events, you fail public, right? Like the stage of a real life experience is very you're just out there in front of the attendees and the clients.
Welcome to Fearful Giants, the podcast that's getting loud about something most leaders never talk about out loud, their fear. I'm Clay Stelzer, executive coach and founder of 1560, the coaching company. And every week I sit down with a founder, a CEO, or an executive leader to talk about the stuff they're not posting about on LinkedIn. And today we have my buddy Noelle McInerney, who's the founder and CEO of Ladidadi, which is a boutique corporate event planning agency with expertise in turning corporate events, meetings, and incentive travel experiences into memorable moments. And over the past 20 years, Noelle has brought over 1,000 experiences to life, from high-end celebrity events to intimate employee functions all around the world. She's totally awesome and so fun, and I'm so happy to have you here, Noelle.
Thanks, Clay. Good to be here.
So, Noelle, we met, I don't know, a year-ish ago, maybe 6 months-ish ago. And we met, I was presenting to your EO forum.
Yeah.
For those that are unfamiliar with EO, it's the Entrepreneurs Organization. I highly recommend EO. It's so cool. And I was talking a little bit about conscious leadership, and I asked for a volunteer to get a little bit of coaching or to get messy in front of their peers. And you were the first person to raise your hand. And at that moment, I'm like, okay, this is someone I want to hang out with. I love playing with people that are willing to get messy. And then I also knew this is someone I want on the podcast. And so here we are. So I want to talk about a couple things today. I think what you do for a living, event planning and production, creating experiences, is such a unique thing to do, as I like to explore this idea of fear. Because, I mean, I'm terrified when someone asks me to plan like dinner. And you're putting on these massive productions, and I'm so curious about what that's like for you and how you've managed to be in that world. So that's what I want to talk about today.
Oh, yeah, it is not for the faint of heart, for sure. My team and I talk regularly about the stress that comes with it, but also it's kind of like something you either love it or you hate it. And that's good for us because there's a lot of people that are very afraid of it and hate it. And that's why they give us their business. But yeah, when you fail in events, you fail public, right? Like the stage of a real life experience is very you're just out there in front of the attendees and the clients. And so, yeah, I think it takes a special person who really thrives off of the kind of risk reward and the knowing that they have 4 different plans for when something does go wrong. Like it's kind of a personality thing. Those that want to have backup A, B, and C and just got to go with it.
Yeah. So the risk reward stuff. Well, you said it's not for everyone. Why is it for you? Like, how does it work for you given your personality?
It's a really great question. God, I find what we do to be really emotional and really emotionally rewarding. We are, and it sounds cheesy, but we're literally creating like once in a lifetime experiences for people, things they never would do on their own, things they're never going to forget. It's usually filled with joy, especially the type of events we do are typically celebratory. I'm very grateful to be able to produce things in beautiful places around the world. And so you get to see these attendees just bursting with awe. And so that bounces back. So I feel, we're not saving lives, but we're creating some cool experiences. And then also on the corporate side, I think what works with me is I'm like very much always have been like a rule follower. I love school, like all the things. And with corporate events, there is a clear goal. There are metrics. This is not, God bless wedding planners. That's like just not what we do. So there's this mix of like, yes, we are creating vibe and atmosphere and emotional arcs, but also like we're hitting real goals for our clients. And so the combo works for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk. I want to talk about your clients. So there are a zillion things that could go wrong in any moment in one of these events.
Yeah.
And I have to imagine that at least a large number of your clients are really nervous.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you manage that? How do you manage their fear? That's got to be part of your job. It's part of the story.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we win that starts during the pitch, right? Like we win business by tempering fear from our client that they didn't just make a mistake hiring, right? That we're going to actually deliver this idea, right? That is just an idea in somewhere maybe they've never been and get all their people on planes and trains and automobiles and get them there safely. It starts with the pitch. It starts with our confidence level of like we've done this, we've been there. And also the shit that we don't know that's going to happen, that we're equipped to handle it. And we have the right partners on the ground to like do the things, right? And we're not showing them any vendor that we haven't vetted. Like we're taking some of that fear out of it, right? And by the time a program happens, Clay, we've probably had like 100 calls. Like there's a lot of time that goes into it. And so the relationship is very much being built every week, and we proved to them that we're on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about like the work I do and I help people be with their fear in effective ways. I have to imagine like your coach Noelle as well. Like I don't know if you've ever thought about that or yourself in
Yeah.
that way, but that has to be part of what you're doing. Like actually like feeling into your clients, recognizing their nervousness and responding and reacting in a way that is quite soothing and helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. These days, to just call it like I'm not producing anymore. Now I feel like I'm focused on calming the fears of my producers about their programs, but I hear them do this all the time with clients. Also, when we push them to try new things too, they are coaching. For sure, they're coaching. And we could tell sometimes with client behavior, like if they're emailing just things that are in their mind over whatever, and we have to be like, get ahead of it. And this is what we're going to talk. I mean, it's just like client management, but this is what we're going to talk about on these calls. And every little thing that you could possibly think of is covered in there so that they're like, okay, you know, they got it. It's on the radar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Your job today with Ladidadi or your daily activity is probably different than when you first started with the company. I want to talk about that. Before we talk about Noel as employer or as CEO, I want to talk a little bit about your experience being on the ground floor with your clients. Yeah, you're being a coach and helping your clients through some of these difficult decisions, et cetera, et cetera. I have to imagine that can be really heavy for you, for someone that's you've got all these things that you're trying to deliver perfectly and you're having to deal with the fear of your clients. Like, what's that like having to field their fear? How do you manage your own experience around that?
Good question. I really think like eliminating doubt on the planning side is the only way to do it. Like as planners or producers, like we're only as good as our partners. So and I really don't think this has ever happened or not often. Well, like when I'm shaky about a partner on site, that's where the fear comes in because I can't control the boat that's going to show up for the fishing outing. That actually has happened. But I at least knowing who I'm going to call if something isn't up to par has given me confidence. Also, maybe this just now goes back to like my like family and upbringing. Like never been afraid to get my hands dirty. I was a waitress like through high school and college and worked in hospitality, and like there's no job I wouldn't do that like I wouldn't ask anyone to do something I wouldn't do. And so I just also know that like I'm gonna do what if that means vacuuming the meeting room floor, washing the whatever to make it right. Like that doesn't scare me. Yeah, I guess so. Knowing that my partners are legit, right? That has given confidence. Yeah, and just knowing we're gonna do whatever it takes, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it just seems kind of like you're in, like we're committed. We will figure it out. I also kind of like this idea. You didn't use the word, but it feels like there's some redundancy. Like you're already in the future thinking about what could go wrong, and you sort of are planning for that at some level.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, something goes wrong at every event. It's just like right, like without fail. And so with my team, we talk about like we do a lot of visualization too, but
Yeah.
you want to see your program going well, but also we literally walk through every step of the attendee experience and we go, what could go wrong? And then what happens if it did? And what are we doing?
Yeah, I love that you're doing visioning stuff. You ever see like in the Olympics gymnasts and their eyes are closed and you see them actually going through the routine?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
visualizing and that's a real strategy. Seems like you have your own version of that.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, these massive events, my understanding when I think about these huge events, oftentimes at some level, it's like corporate theater.
It's totally corporate theater.
Yeah.
Totally corporate
Like
theater.
these companies that hire you, they're putting their brand, expressing their brand however they want to express it, its
Yeah,
image, its optics, et cetera, et cetera.
yeah.
So
I'm telling a story.
you're telling a story.
Yeah,
So, okay, if we're telling a story, and if you know that that's really what they're buying,
yeah.
this has to affect your story. Like, if they're looking for perfection, who do I need to be as Noelle when I first meet someone? I'm curious about like the connection between the story you're presenting and what they're wanting to buy and how the two are interrelated. By the way, like as soon as we got on this video stream here, I looked at you. I'm like, God, you look great. Like that Lottie logo in the background. Like, holy shit. Like there is an excellence, even the color palette, like
Thank
this
you.
stuff isn't happening by accident.
It
So I'm really,
sure is not. It sure is not. Yeah.
so how has this affected how you show up in the world?
It's a great question. We're very thoughtful about that. We're not trying to be an agency we're not, right? Like we come up against some much bigger players. I think we've always really owned where we've been in our company's journey, which is we're only 8 years old. We're still very much in it. But yeah, we're not trying to be everything to everyone. We've really focused on our niche. We own that we are the size we are for a reason. Like we like to be small and nimble and boutique. We're big enough to be dangerous, and we've invested in a lot of tech and resources and like industry relationships where we're legit, but we're not so big that we can't move fast. We really want to do new things with our clients and be their, the extension of their team. But storytelling for sure. We're not just, we say we're a logistics focused agency rooted in experiential. And that's something I took with me from my pre-Ladi life is the experiential marketing that I also love. And that even a meeting, whether it's a board meeting or a revenue kickoff, like I just came off of, or an incentive, there's absolutely a story being told. And the why is the most critical thing. So that's something we talk about in our kind of discovery calls is if we don't understand your why, we can't tell you the how, right? Like we really want to connect with why you're doing it and what do you want people to feel? And then we design around emotion.
Yeah.
Seems to resonate with the right clients.
You know, the time we've known each other, and we've hung out a fair number of times, you have this confidence and you have this stability that I have to imagine really rewards you when you're in front of everyone trying to earn business through this idea of trust. Where are you flappable? Like, are you a human being? Are you a human being, Noel?
Yeah, I sure am.
like like my gosh, there's just like perfection all around you. Like we provide perfection, or we bring really difficult images to life and experiences to life, and I present myself and my team a certain way. Like
Yeah.
my gosh, like I get, so I've got my own relationship with perfectionism, and we can talk about that, but like, do you thrive on that energy? Does it make you a little nuts? Like what's your relationship with perfection, and where are you flappable?
I know I'm resilient. I think my team's really resilient. So I'm not afraid to fail. Also, at different points in the company's history, too. I feel like early on, failure could have meant like just losing the whole thing. I think now, at this point, if we don't win a piece of business, we have enough other business, like that's okay, And I also really believe that the universe is like supporting us. I love Clay, we could go there too. But I think there's so much business to go around. We really sit in an abundant mindset at Lottie and not lack, and that there's reasons that clients are drawn to us. And I've listened to Seth Godin a lot. I really love that he says like market and focus on the client that would miss you if you're gone, right? Like stop. And we talk about it like, let's not chase the ones that don't really get why we do this. And if my talk about awe and joy and peace of mind like isn't clicking, then that's okay, right? There's a partner for them that's going to be way better. And we can live and play where that's appreciated. I don't know if I even answered your question. With my team too, I say excellence is an energy. It's not the end goal. We can like operate with excellence. I'm using that instead of perfection. Nothing's perfect, right? But excellence is a focus. But mistakes are like everyone makes them. And I try to just like get rid of the fear on my team that if you make a mistake, then you're like going to get in trouble, right? Like as long as it's not negligent, then we like talk about it, and it's not like, I hope, right? I don't want to be naive to this, but I think the vibe on my team is that they're not afraid to share if they've made a mistake, because let's prevent someone else from making it, and like we all win from that,
Yeah.
and myself included.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so now you're speaking my language. By the way, you can bring all the woo-woo you got
Okay.
to this show and hanging out with me anytime. I think you know that. Yeah, you start talking about abundance and woo, and then you said the T word, trust. I actually want you to share a little bit more about that. And here's why. I think it is really difficult, especially for younger or lesser, not calling you lesser experienced business
You're
owners, but
calling me young.
I
Thank
am
you.
calling you very young. I can't even believe you have a business. But being able to trust in outcomes and letting go of control is sort of a really difficult thing for most people to do. A lot of people talk about abundance mindset and scarcity mindset and all this stuff. And then, like, I dig in a little bit. Are you really willing to be with a no and see the gift in it? And it seems like you have some experience in that. I'm always wondering when I have someone that I'm talking with that's super confident, I always wonder how'd you get there? Because it's not like a magic trick. Like there's
No.
some strategy or there's some upbringing or there's something that led to that. And I have to imagine hearing you say that I just trust in it and the Seth Godin thing, like maybe this client isn't for me, like that's a pretty cool strategy that I think probably allows you to be as confident as you are.
Yeah, I've work on it. I work on it still. I work with a mindset coach currently who I adore. I have a mentor. I've worked with other leadership coach. Like, absolutely something that is a ongoing focus, right?
Yeah,
And I think I hope to continue it daily, like for as long as I can, because it's easy to let it go and fear totally slips back in.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I really have a pretty big reaction when I hear a bunch of business personalities out there talking about being fearless.
Yeah.
I think it's a bunch of bullshit.
Hmm.
In my experience, fear isn't negotiable. It either is or it isn't. It's here or it's not. And most human beings, well, we all have fear as a primary emotion, and it's a way to be in the world. So how you're being with your fear, I think, is really
Yeah.
the whole game. And
Yeah.
so I think you have a lot of people have a lot to learn about you and your relationship with fear that has led you to be as confident as you are. Your relationship with trust. So if someone was just starting their journey now and they didn't really get the abundance mindset thing and they're trying to say yes to anyone that's willing to cut them a check. We know that's not a very effective strategy. Like what's a piece of advice around stepping into this idea of trust from your own experience that you might offer them?
I mean, sometimes I think it's taken me learning the hard way too. I and my head of sales who's gonna listen to this podcast still works with me on saying no to business, right? Like, I often am like, "But who knows what could come from it," right? And we're really working on it's an ongoing process. But I think because I've learned the hard way, you have to see, shit, that took us or me, way more time than it should have. I actually lost money on it, or it didn't feel good the whole time, to then be able to recognize it and be more okay, like walking away from it or letting things go and trusting that there's something else that it's making room for, right? I also I have to work on like being ready to accept the things that come to us. I mean, I even yesterday we have a really big RFP that just came. It is probably the biggest we've ever gotten, and there's a moment of like, actually, this time felt more like, yes, this first, and then the fear comes in. But now I recognize it. I also think, Clay, like more recently in my journey, let's call it, like, if there's no fear, then I'm not growing. Like, I just try to think of it differently. Like, not that I like welcome it, but it's like healthy a little bit, I think, and means that I'm pushing and I'm on the right track.
Yeah, yeah. Right. I mean, there's so many benefits in being scared and fearful stuff. Like, I'm scared every time I hit record on this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And I know that if I'm willing to be with the fear, I get to have these really cool conversations with people like you. There's adrenaline that feels really fun. And it's like being in the uncertainty and unknown is, I mean, it's so fun, I think.
That's so fun. I felt that growing my business has been fun too, but when I've realized like, oh, I don't know about that. Like, I'm not an expert in this, and I'm not an expert in most things. Like my career background was I was an event planner. I was not a business owner operator. And so the
Yeah.
transition what got rid of some fear was just hiring experts, like outsourcing. And of course, there was fear with like spending the money on doing that instead of trying to do it all myself. But that gave me confidence with finance or with HR once I started having employees or whatever to like trust again, this trust, like there are people who are better at this than me by a million, let's let them support my business.
Smart. I think for me, impression management, when I had a psychology undergrad degree and I was just
Huh.
so fascinated by impression management. Take a guess why I was fascinated with impression management.
All makes sense.
Yeah, right. Well, I just was completely blind doing everything I could to put some impression or creating an impression in others' minds of who I was. It's funny how we teach others what we need to learn ourselves. When I was a new business owner, like the fear was there and I just felt like I had to have my shit together and I had to be the guy that my clients could become, which, oh my, what a trap that is. And the irony in the whole thing is I've learned over the years that the more authentic and imperfect I am, the more trust I earn and the deeper my relationships go with people. So I don't know. That's a lesson I love sharing with others. It took me a long time to learn.
Totally. I've gotten to work with an author named Todd Capone, and he works with sales teams. I'm gonna like blank on the name of his book. I'm sorry, Todd. But one of his strategies for selling is like call out your imperfection early because no one trusts a 5-star review, basically, right? Whether
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
online or like in person. And so we do that too, right? Like if you're looking for X, Y, Z, or then we might not be your
I
partner.
love it. I love
And
it.
then disarms.
Yeah, I think that's such a cool strategy. Yeah. You're probably more present in the moment. In my experience, when I shine a light on my insecurities or whatever it is I'm nervous about, all that power goes away. And I can take a breath and here I am. I'm present. Now I can really be with the prospect or the person I'm engaging with. So I love that you talk about the things that you're not. And by the way, it's such a gift for them too, because, well, one, they'll probably trust you more, but two, everyone can stop wasting time. Like,
Yes,
hey,
yes,
like we're successful if we can provide great services for our clients. I don't know if we're the right fit for you.
right,
Let's talk about that. I'll tell you if we are or not, but it doesn't do me any good to have a bad or a client that doesn't fit our model because we're not going to get an A in our paper.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in our business too, like, I'm sure with a lot, like, it's so people focused. Like, my assets at Ladidadi are my team members, and I know also that if the wrong client is in the mix, typically then the planner's experience is not as great, and they might not stay with me as long, right? Or they're just not gonna be as happy working at Ladi, and if I lose team members, then, like, that sucks, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not what anyone has time for, and so I think about them too quite a bit.
Yeah. Before you had the experience and wisdom that you have now, have you ever said yes to a client when you know that was a really shitty idea, but you said yes because you were nervous about losing the business, losing the client, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, yeah.
And how'd that work out for you?
I mean, I learn something with every single program. So I don't do a lot of, like, regret stuff. It wasn't either fun, and I this business should be fun. We talk say all the time, like, if
Yeah.
you're not having fun, you're doing something wrong. Not fun or not profitable or, fill in the blanks, just it ended up being a waste of time. But I think early in my Lottie time, I felt like I was afraid very much of not getting the next program, the next deal. And what if, about it was money, like, how am I going to do whatever? And so just take whatever I could get. And like you said, like that's not the way to grow for sure. But it took getting repeat clients, in this business too. It's very sticky. It's a lot of, you're getting a real big peek behind the curtain with a lot of the clients and their companies. And so once you're in, if you deliver, I think it's more likely than not that a client will stay with a planning partner. And so once I started getting repeat business too, that also helped, get rid of that fear of
Sure.
lack. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
working with coaches.
Yeah, yeah. Good. Well, I'm glad you've taken care of yourself, invested in yourself with other coaches, etc. I do now want to talk about Noelle as leader. At the beginning, you used to be the one running the show. I know you're still in it a little bit, but now you've got these folks, your employees, who by the way, I love that you call them composers. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that because you're creating experiences, and who creates experiences? Composers are composing the event, the experience. I love it. Anyway, and you're trusting them to make decisions that ultimately will make or break your business and maybe even your reputation. I'd love to hear how you stepped into that. What was the hardest part, and maybe what is the hardest part of that for you?
Yeah, for a long time, my growth strategy was like, I just can't do it anymore myself, right? I need one more person. And then when she was completely at capacity, we would, it was just like one at a time. Relinquishing control is tough. I feel really fortunate though, like for the really strong majority of my team members in the 8 years, most of them have been so incredible. And I've been lucky enough to hire mostly people that have either I've known from past jobs or are like one degree of separation and have come like really referred. And so that's been helpful because there's so much trust, right? I don't know, like not having a choice. Like if you don't like you literally can't do it all yourself. And I knew I wanted to scale and I can't be in two places at once. And I also during this time have started a family. I'm a mom and I don't want to be on the road as much. And so the only way to do both is to let go and trust. And then they've just proven me right. Like my team is incredible and they care so much. Also, I guess I can add learning, and EO has been a big part of this, but learning about how to hire and look for who's intrinsically motivated. That's been everything. Like, so I look for people who are going to give it all or are so committed, not because they're getting paid for it. Like that's if they are getting paid, but that's not what's driving them. And that's a game changer. I've also learned a lot now. We do strength finders, we do Myers Briggs. We like really try to find the team fit to, I'm never going to eliminate the risk of hiring the wrong person. And we've done that for sure. But it has allowed me to trust more that like they've got it. They've got it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, congratulations. Having worked with many entrepreneurs, I think that's the hardest skill. It's the hardest thing to do is to learn how to let go.
Yeah.
Because if
Yeah.
you have any chance of scaling, you need a team to run the company for you.
Yeah, for sure. I was at first, a lot of my early clients were relationships that I had from my days at Groupon, where I was for a long time. And they came and they hired me, Noelle, event planner, right? And then like the next year, 2 years later, where I couldn't do all of them, I'd be like, okay, here's it was Brie or Angelica, whoever. And I was worried, are they here because of me? Right. And like, that's just ego too. Like the real reality is like, they weren't. They want to make sure that I'm involved and give a shit. But I've never lost a client because it wasn't me actually planning the event. Yeah. You just keep letting go. Like it's easier and easier.
Yeah. Talking about this subject, I've had a lot of people, business owners, leaders, like you say, I've been very lucky with the people I have,
Yeah.
the people that have come on board. And like, I honor that. And sure, there's some luck, but I also wonder who is the leader you needed to be to attract the people that you attracted? And how are you showing up that's inviting them to show up exactly the way that they are? I don't think it's just luck. I really don't. So, what would you say again, if you're talking to someone that is, I don't know, 7 years behind you on this journey, what has really supported you to make the space feel comfortable enough for your employees to really thrive?
Still, and probably for a long time from now, like when I interview candidates, share that I don't know everything, right? Like I'm committed to continuing to learn and like do what's right for the company, but I don't know what's going to happen next year. Like I want my team to be my sounding board and have a voice. Like this is like no bullshit, right? Like let's try new things, and I welcome that from any level. It's been harder as we've grown, not that we have a big org, but we're 15 people, and so now there's, like, layers of management, but I never want anyone to be afraid to go, above or around or any of that stuff, and so I kinda lead a lot with that in the interview of what our vibe is internally. I think opportunities also come at Lottie when people speak up for them and, like, raise their hand, and so I I guess share that behavior is rewarded and welcomed, and yeah, just I guess being transparent about me and that yes, I have a vision for the company, this is where we're going, but also, like, we're all part of this together. We're small enough where we really are together maneuvering and deciding what we wanna, like, be and how we wanna show up and all those things, so they're part of
Yep.
it.
Yeah, but Noel, I'm sure they want to do things differently than you want to do them. maybe not. Maybe like,
Yeah, I mean, well, sure. And there's healthy debate, especially in my like leadership team. But I've learned also that without that, then how are we like pressure testing, right? And like I hear that everyone like will be heard, and it doesn't mean it's like I'm gonna say yes to everything, right? There's definitely times where I've made a decision and it's not what everyone wants to do, right? But we'll have a conversation about it. Like it's never a hard and fast or like not really thinking about it. I can promise them that, right?
so when you have new folks coming on, I mean, I'm just really appreciating again more trust that you've got the right people. You don't have to
Yeah.
have all the answers. That's not an easy. I imagine that took some time to get to that mindset, and you're also responsible for developing the people underneath you. So I'm curious, how do you decide when to step in? You've seen this movie before. You know when things are going to fall and the train's going to go off the tracks. How do you know when to step in versus when you let your team struggle?
I think there's like a there's a distinction there, right? And maybe it's just experience being able to identify it with the like let them struggle. I think that's huge. And I coach my directs who have people to not be the solver. Don't fix everything. Like use questions like, what would you do if I wasn't here? Like, don't come with only a problem, come with two ideas and let's like, and then what's your recommendation? Like the best way I think we can coach people is helping them figure it out, right? Because also with events, we can't be there when the program's happening, everyone, right? So you gotta be able to like trust your gut, use your best judgment with a lot of things, right? Like do right by the client. So I guess that was part of your question, like let them struggle, let them figure it out versus this is way too much for workload is big in our business, right? And leading up to an event, for example, like it gets real heavy and there's long days and it's pretty intense. And on site, it's just like you're in the zone. And there's definitely been times where we've recognized, okay, it's just literally too much. So things are falling, right? Balls are dropping and details are being missed. And then I'm not afraid to spend money. Like I would rather that was a whole energy thing we could talk about too. When I was early in my career, being afraid to spend money and letting it go with positive energy. And I think it comes back with positive energy. But my team knows this. We will spend money. I will get other contractors. Well, we will like figure out how to add resources to help this person instead of like the risk of shit like falling through and losing a client is way higher than, 20 hours from someone to support.
Sure, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're 8 years? 8 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you, I mean, I asked you about what makes you flappable earlier, but like our challenges change, our businesses grow, or the dynamics, the world is certainly different now than it was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
What's tough for you? What's, if you were to be up at night thinking about something, like what's really hard for you right now in this chapter of Ladidadi?
Yeah. A lot of what keeps me up at night is the stuff I can't control. It's like the hurricanes and pandemics, right? Like, want to talk about my inflappability. I mean, it was a young company at the time, but in 30 days, like everything was gone. And then we didn't know if events were, I mean, talk about like, like learning to let go. It was awful. But I also feel like now I've seen the work, like seen it just go. But those are the types of things, like tariffs this year hurt our business. We had multiple manufacturing clients who paused or canceled their programs because just how kind of chaotic things were and they didn't know about their revenue and that impacts we are very much impacted by larger economic things that are completely out of our control. And especially like the incentive side of our business is a nice to have for a lot of companies. And so when their budgets need to be tightened or they're not having a good year, like it's cut, right? So those things. But again, I think then I really have to just like, we're going to figure it out. Like there's a little bit of like, okay, like we're going to handle it with some strategy. I don't want incentives to be majority of our business so that we have a base of like more meetings that are more likely to continue. There's some things that I've put in place to help, but I can't COVID, like what? Something crazy could happen and things change so quickly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, what's the big gift that COVID offered you? It's funny, most people think about things like that as like, oh, the worst thing in the world. And certainly there were some horrible impacts of COVID. But listen, these are the cards that we got in front of us. There's
Yeah.
COVID here. We can choose to learn from it and move forward. What's the gift that COVID brought you?
Oh my gosh. Okay, 2. One more like theoretical and one literal. It was the biggest lesson in letting go that I've ever experienced. I was also very pregnant. I had my baby in May of 2020. So come March, I had this whole plan of like how I'm going to take time off to have my baby, and we were still going to have programs with my team and make money, right? So physically, any mom listening to this knows like you're not in control of your body anymore. Right? Like very much so. And I, especially with the fear when we didn't know in COVID and giving birth, like I really, and my business, like I really had to just like trust the universe, God, whatever, and like let go because I could not control what was happening physically or globally and just ride with it, right? Like just because otherwise the stress would have like crushed me, right? And that's not how I wanted to be at that point in my life. Okay, so yes, letting go. And then business wise, actually, I think COVID actually helped us when return to work happened and remote workplaces, which have now become the norm or even like hybrid companies realized in order to build culture, keep it, sustain it, whatever, start it, they had to get their people together and they weren't in the same office anymore. So bringing groups to a destination and doing these programs, that's what we do. And that's kind of where we started winning and grew really quickly in 22, 23, especially the style. We weren't doing like multi-thousand person conferences. Then we were really in the 50 to 300%. And so like we just started just doing programs and getting people back together. And so it helped.
That's amazing. I'm just sitting over here thinking about like at least 10 good COVID jokes about social distancing and nose swabs as
Oh, yeah.
a separate offering of Ladidadi.
We,
Anyway,
I mean, for years, even after just PPP and in our contracts, what was covered, we did programs soon after where there were social distance. I had people get COVID on site at
sure.
events and have to stay in quarantine after. Yeah, we dealt with all
Yeah.
of it, but we were thrilled really when like just people were craving real experiences.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I have to imagine. I mean, there was definitely some anxiety that people had when the world opened up again about, people kind of wading into the social waters again. But I have to imagine it was so fun. I just remember going to like my first concert after the world opened up again. And it was just like, oh my gosh, I miss the energy of being together with other human beings. I imagine that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get back to your employees. Here's a real good zinger for you, Noelle.
Okay.
What's something you wish your employees understood about you and your experience leading this company that they may not?
That is a zinger. They know me. I like cry. I like weep giving core value awards out. I'm like real raw with them, but I'm sure there's stuff they don't know.
You're so no fun, Noel. I thought you were gonna be
No.
just like you come on, you'd have all this bullshit to talk about, all these fears and like drama. Here you are, you got all your shit together. Like, what's the deal, Noel? You know what the show's about.
Oh my god. No, there's fear. Like, it's just evolved, right? And I, like,
I'm
can sit
kidding.
with it more. But okay.
I love that you have that relationship with your employees, and I love that you're willing to, like, take off the mask that so many people are unwilling to take off. That's beautiful, I love it. Is there anything else that the mask is still on around?
I don't know if they know how much I do not work, right? But, like, I think about their families, I think about their livelihood, like, when we win business, I really am thinking about keeping them employed and, like, happy. Like, I think about them a lot, probably more than they know.
Yeah,
It never turns off. Or maybe also, I mean, personally, like, and my friends know this, when I'm type A and like I'm a planner, but when it comes to like when I'm not working, I don't want to plan anything. I'm like, just tell me where to go. Like I like really don't go with the flow. And so I don't know if they've seen that necessarily, because usually we're on site when I'm with them or somewhere and things are like pretty organized to the minute.
yeah. So if I was to go to lunch with your staff and you weren't anywhere to be seen,
Yeah.
what do you think they'd say about you?
I think they say that they feel valued. I think they'd say that they make an impact at Lottie. Like, I really do fully believe every single one of my team members, like, really matters to the success of the program, whether it's the lady checking whether your name is on your passport is spelled the same as your like super deep, but it like it matters. And I think they feel that. I also think they would say that I do like to celebrate. They know that my love language is physical gifts. Like I definitely love spoiling my team and that gives me joy. I think they know that. Like my favorite time of year is holiday huddle when we bring everyone to Chicago and we get to just like celebrate and do fun things. Like to think they feel valued and appreciated.
That's so cool. Well, I'm gonna go have lunch with your team next Tuesday. I'll let you know how
You
it goes.
should. They're really fun. You'll
I'm
have a
sure
blast.
this go to lunch with a bunch of composers. Like, oh my gosh, that sounds awesome. Okay, one more question on this, and then I'll move on.
Okay.
Is there anything that you might want them to say about you that you're not sure they would?
God, yes. I would love to hear that they feel confident in the future. Like, I feel like at every point in Lottie's like progression, I feel like, okay, I know how to run a company of this size, but do I know how to like what about that next tier, right? That next size. And specifically, now that I think about it more, as we're hiring again, we are growing. And right now at 15, like it's a size where we can be in one van together, but like that next stage, and we do have a 3-year plan and potentially doubling the size of the people, like, is it gonna feel the same? I would love to feel like they're confident that it's still gonna have that magic that I think we do have now at the next size, and that's something that I hope I can do.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Okay, a few more, and then we're gonna wrap up this baby.
All right.
So I guess I have one more zinger for you.
Gosh.
I know. Isn't this fun talking with me? Okay, so uh, you've got these composers; they're killing it.
Huh.
So if Lottie didn't need you for anything, operationally speaking,
Yeah.
like the engine is just rolling and they're killing it,
Mhm.
who would Noelle be then?
Good question. Who would I be? Now, what would I do? Right? So, two different, I don't know what I would do. Who would I be? I'm so in love with my little boy and my family. Pretty good at not working too, even though I work a lot. I like to think that I would still be passionate about life, but I would probably find something else to sink my teeth into,
Yeah,
um, keep me inspired.
yeah,
I'd be me, but I'm not going anywhere. They
yeah,
might not need me operationally, but they need
yeah.
me.
Well, I think what actually is being communicated with your answer, so many people connect their ego identity with what they do.
Yeah,
And I didn't
it would be
necessarily
hard.
hear that trap just now. And I don't like need to. I mean, I've got my own bullshit identity, ego stuff too around being a coach, but it doesn't seem like that would be devastating for you. It seems like you have a fairly well balanced relationship with your identity as it pertains to what you do each day.
I think so. I also, though, know I don't think I can go work for someone else at this point. Like,
Yeah, me
there's
neither.
that. And Lottie and leadership is part of my identity. I think it will, if and when that time comes, absolutely will be something that I like will have to go through and work on and figure out. I just know that right now it makes me really happy. And so, you
Yeah,
know, especially in EO, we talk about like the idea of exits and what's next and whatever, without trying to like not be forward thinking like right now, this is where I want to be. And I love it. So the
mm,
moment, this is me, but
it's
I'm sure.
great. So this moment, this is you. I love it. So what's next for Noel? More of the same? I mean, you talked about growth a little bit. I
Yeah.
hope everyone knows. Like, what's next for Noel?
Yeah, we are thrilled to be back in growth mode. Say the next 3 years, we have a plan, we have a big number, but we feel good about it. Like it's not growth for the it's not so crazy where we feel like we're not going to be able to hit it. I'm gonna say we, not I. We don't want our team to burn out with growth. So like I'd say like intentional growth is the focus for the next few years. I'm plan on moving in about a year and a half to a new state with my husband and little boy. And so that's like kind of exciting in the near future. And
Where,
then
where are you going?
we want to move to Tennessee. We want to move to Franklin, Tennessee. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, cool. I don't know. I don't have any friends in Franklin, Tennessee. So now
Well, you will. You will.
that's great. So follow up question: who is the Noel that you need to be to step into that next step, into that vision? What's the one thing you need to really be cognizant of?
Focus, right? I
Focus.
think focus and a little bit of discipline.
Focus and discipline. I
Yeah,
imagine that won't be too big of a stretch for you.
like, stick with it.
Stick
Easy
with
to
it.
re you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love it, man. Just seems like you're killing it, and it's just like pour gas on that fire. Just keep going. Really
Thank
cool. I'm
you.
excited for you. So I have two questions I ask everyone at the end of the show. Real quick answers. Here's the first one. If you could whisper one truth into every leader's ear, what would it be?
You're only as good as your team.
Good one. I love it. And the next one. What truth helps the giant in you rise up when fear drags you down?
I am supported.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Seems like you got a lot of really brilliant, caring, smart, motivated people around you, loving people
do.
around you. Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah. What a cool realization just to remember. Wait a minute. I'm not alone in this.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Noah, is there anything else you want to share or pitch or anything you want to mention before we wrap up?
No, but this is really fun. Thank you
Isn't
for
it?
having me. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is so fun. I've loved having you on. I just knew it would be a fun conversation. Where can people find you? Like, who the heck wouldn't want to find you if they need an event? By the way, anywhere in the world, Noelle and Ladidadi creates incredible experiences. You heard about how confident she is. You heard about her team. She's got her shit together. Where do they find you?
LadiDadiXM.com is our website. I'm Noelle at LadiDadiXM. There's not a lot of Noelle McInerney, so LinkedIn, email Clay, look it up. Pretty easy to find.
Okay, cool. Well,
Thanks.
thank you again for being here. It's just fun. I imagine people listening to this are picking and choosing little gifts from your experience. And so that's all I can hope for in the show. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah. And everyone, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. Please follow the show and join me, Clay Stelzer, each week as we stop pretending, we name our fears, and remember what it takes to stand tall as the giants we already are. When leaders get real, they make it safe for others to do the same, like Noelle just did. So please subscribe or follow wherever you listen to podcasts, share with other leaders, leave a review if you're inclined, and help more people feel what's possible when fear doesn't run the show. Thanks so much.